What's going on, everyone? This is Chris Walton, your instructor for AV265 Aerospace Accident Investigation. This week we are talking about single-engine aircraft accidents. So we've talked about a lot of different things, electrical fires, controlled flight into terrain, ditching in the water. We've talked about a lot of different accidents, in-flight flyers. A lot of these have pertained to the big airline, big commercial carriers. So your Boeings, your Airbus, your major big aircraft. We haven't talked a lot about single engine aircraft accidents. So this week we'll talk about that. Single engine aircraft accidents, that refers to not just airplanes, but also gliders, no engine, balloons, hot air balloons, and even experimental aircraft that an owner may be building in a hangar or in a spare project that they have. There are different reasons for single engine aircraft accidents, including, for instance, with a lot of the big carriers, you have not only regulations from the FAA, but you have safety programs implemented with compliance regulations that have to comply with the FAA, but they also have training, constant training. Your job's constantly recertifying you year after year, every quarter, that sort of thing. So you have, not saying big brother looking over your shoulder, but you're always certified, you're always ongoing training. With general aviation, yes, you do your annual certification, you upgrade, you make sure you stay current on your ratings, but you're not constantly, if you're not always flying all the time, then you may not always be practicing safety regulations or staying up to date in safety practices. So the rules are a little looser. A guy versus flying, like I said, for your job, you're constantly flying, constantly training. General aviation, you might fly every summer and then don't fly the winter season, that sort of thing. With looser rules, of course, people relax, and that's one cause of accidents in the general aviation community. Other reasons, smaller planes typically land at smaller airports. So these smaller airports are not always paved. They don't always have paved runways. They might be a gravel runway, dirt runway, grass strip even. And these three things, these are different factors, definitely influence landings and could change the dynamic of a landing and cause an accident. So even paved runways, some might not have been paved for 20, 15 years. I used to work with Wyoming Department of Transportation about 2 or 3 years ago. One of the things we did, we went out to different airports in the state and checked out their airport projects, runway repaving project, that sort of thing. And a lot of airports hadn't been repaved or gotten a new runway in over practically maybe 20, 18 years. It had been a while. Of course, you're not getting as much traffic as a commercial airport, but still you need to keep up the paving in order to ensure safety practices. Other reasons for accidents may include controlled flight into terrain, as well as loss of control while in flight. According to AOPA Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, about two accidents per week are contributed to fuel starvation, so just plane running out of fuel leads back to poor flight planning. But that's also a cause. Bad landings are another cause of fatal aircraft accidents, as we touched on earlier. And believe it or not, the risk of death is slightly higher in a situation where the pilot may have entered poor weather conditions and has to rely on their instruments. Those are typically higher. Lastly, one of the last causes, not that much, but are bird strikes. So not only bird strikes, but wildlife strikes, accidents involving animals. But it's not as much accidents are contributed to those as previous factors. So in a 20-year time span from about 1990 to 2012, there were about 60 civilian aircraft accidents that were reported, with the cause being wildlife strikes. There were about 60 civilian aircraft accidents that were beyond repair, so they could not repair it at all, that sort of thing. The animals these were contributed to, Canadian geese, that's very common, vultures, and then white-tailed deer as well. So these factors, all these are different causes of single-engine aircraft accidents. Next week we are touching on foreign policy, I believe, the syllabus. After that, we're hitting Thanksgiving, and then we have one more week before finals, and we're out. So finish strong, keep on doing what you're doing. I did some grading yesterday as well, getting caught up on that, and it looks a lot of good grading. So don't slow down, finish strong, and you will have a great grade. So if you have any questions, contact me. Until next time, this is Chris Walton, your instructor. Take care.